to those who show up, and I always like to start things on time. We'll get started. So welcome everybody. Thank you for uh, taking a little bit of your evening tonight to spend some time with Minfire and with our very, very special guest and key contributor, Chef Marshall O'Brien, who's gonna, there he is. He's the guy that's dressed like a chef, very obvious who he is.
I just play one on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
And he's going to talk to us tonight and kind of lead us through some activities around sort of all the craziness that happens to people during the holidays when it comes to food consumption and how do we keep ourselves fit and healthy despite the nonsense. And then, of course, times 10 or 100 or whatever factor
or a million
with the COVID and elections and whatever. So anyway, Chef O'Brien, take it away. And then just one other thing quick. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat feature. And Dee Dee Jankovic will help monitor those and others so we can get...
Really appreciate y'all being on this webinar tonight. How many of you, let us know in the chat box, were you in previous sessions? Let us know, yes or no, first time, seventh time, anytime. Well, it really is a privilege and a pleasure. I'll give you a quick little introduction about myself. I'm going to keep it, keep this pretty casual, and just real quick. My name's Marshall O'Brien. I'm a trained chef, published author, regular on Fox 9 television, and awesome, Paul. Appreciate you being there. Joshua, first time. Appreciate it, man. My whole mission is to help all of you that are here tonight, and if you've got kids and maybe you got grandkids. I want to help you have a happier, healthier, better quality life using smart nutrition. And as you know, for those of you that have been in my previous sessions or have read stuff or seen stuff that I've done, nourishing is different than eating. You can eat to live, you can nourish to thrive. And when you nourish your body, you will perform, feel, and look your best. As a firefighter, you have a 12-year shorter life expectancy. That's what the national studies say than the average person like me. And I just think that's absolutely horrible. And so I'm here tonight and I'm doing these webinars and I'm trying to be a resource to help change that. My uncle was a firefighter at LA County, Los Angeles County for many, many, many years. I've got friends up in Duluth that are in fire. I got friends in the metro that are fire. And hopefully as I get to do webinars and connect with you, I'll become friends with you that are in fire. You're one of the pillars of the community. And when you have the support and the resources and tools to help you continue to do your jobs and to take care of you, you can continue to support the community. That's why we're doing this. The topic today, as George said, is getting through the holidays. And holidays can be kind of crazy to begin with, but then compound all the stuff that's been going on in our lives, it can be even more crazy. And what I'd like to do is to take a step back and kind of reframe how we look at the holidays. I don't know all the stations. Like I don't know where you guys are at. I don't know if you're, if you're career or paid on call or volunteer or whatever your role may be. Maybe you have a job Monday through Friday. I don't know, but we already got craziness going on. And so what I hope in this next 50 minutes is kind of just like frame how we can have holidays be a positive time and minimize the drama and kind of focus on those that are your family, whether they're biological or adopted or whatever. The point is, whoever you associate with as your family, how can we make this a positive experience? And to my intro and to George's point, we want to have this time of the year, frankly, I think every time of the year, you want to have foods that work for you. As a firefighter, you can't afford to be, going on call with, running on 50% because your blood sugar is all over the place and you're tired. And that's like part of the life of a firefighter is that sleep deprivation. Well, it obviously, as you know, it can be a killer. Well, when you compound that with eating the wrong foods that make you increase cortisol in your body, that can affect your mental clarity, that can affect your energy, that can affect your mood. That's a recipe for disaster. And you're putting yourself, you're putting your crew members, the folks that are on your shift with you, you're putting everybody in jeopardy. And I'm not saying you're doing that, but But I want you to walk away, if this is kind of like a new way of looking at stuff, I want you to walk away tonight going, all right, let's start looking at food a little different. Because you can have great tasting, awesome food that wreaks heck on your body and takes you in a downward spiral, and it's going to make you sleep like garbage, and it's going to affect your mental cognition, and it's going to affect your energy levels, and now you're a liability on the rig. You don't want that going into an event. Or you can have great tasting, amazing food that helps you keep stable blood sugar, stable mood, stable energy, helps you make more responsive decisions and actions versus reactive decisions and actions, if that makes sense. A little nuance there. Well, like George was saying, holidays, a lot going on. I want to give you some recipes, and I put in the chat box there. Let us know that you got that. But we've got a bunch of dishes that I invite you, as you figure out how you're doing your holidays here. And actually yesterday, I think it was yesterday morning, today or yesterday, I can't remember now, I did a Thanksgiving segment on, as a regular contributor on Fox, and we had some great recipes on there and gave you tips on how to make holidays manageable, and certainly grab those. But did you guys get the recipes out of the chat box, or did you get those via email? Great tasting recipes. They're easy to make. You can make them in advance. There's all sorts of things. And so like the first point that I want to make for tonight's session, and I'm going to start chopping, slicing, dicing here, folks, and then we'll be talking here. Oh, can you pull up the ingredients list? First thing that we're going to do, change my mind. That's not the first thing. This is going to be the first thing. The first recipe that I'm going to make, and then I'm going to talk some philosophy and like strategies and stuff for the holidays. But the first one I'm going to do is these curried sweet potatoes. And these things are really awesome. And thanks to TV Magic, I already got some in the oven. But Jonna is going to flip up the ingredients there, if you can see them on the screen here, so you can see. Really, really simple. This one, right? Yeah. We've got some sweet potatoes, and you know that sweet potato is a sweet potato, like the ones I'm looking at when they're the orange-colored flesh. We've got some curry powder, some cinnamon, a little salt, olive oil. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than this. So we're going to make that, and while I'm preparing this for you, I'm going to talk philosophy. I'm going to talk technique too, because how many of you, let me know in the chat box, how many of you feel scale of 1 to 4, 4 superstar, rock star, chef, 1, I'm going to pee in my pants if I have to be in the kitchen scared. And that might be a little dramatic, I know. But let me know. Put your courage in your fingertip. Oh, there you go, Brad. 3 in it. Oh, there you go. That's confidence. I like that. Put your courage in your fingertips. 2.75. That's very specific, Stephen, but I appreciate that. All right. 3. Okay, smart asses. I like that too. 3.19. That was good. Well, I like the participation. I appreciate that. No matter your skill level, you will finish tonight with me understanding the significance of that skill level and how it can help you make yourself easier, make it easier in the kitchen. Because at the end of the day, I want to empower you in your kitchen and in your life, so you can make the changes that you want in your kitchen and in your life. So we talk the why, we talk the what, and we talk the how. With the why on the holidays, it's more than ever before. I mean, every holiday is, I'm probably projecting a little bit here, but holidays for me can be a little nutty with having little kids and in-laws and all that. But the point is, more than ever before, is let's make it manageable. And let's have some semblance of normalcy. And when you make things manageable, that's going to be the first thing. How do you make it manageable, and how do you make it positive? Try new things. Hence the curry sweet potatoes. So jumping into this recipe, you saw me just peel it up. I'm going to cut part of this sweet potato, so now I have this flat plank. I'm going to put the plank side on the bottom, and using my knife using my knuckles as a guide, I'm going to let the knife do the work. And you can see I just made a series of cuts here, and then I'm going to cut more up. I invite you, ladies and gentlemen, if you have, whether you're on your own or you got people in your life, get them involved this holiday season. And you probably already are doing that because of your schedule and the uncertainty of your schedule. But this will be one of those times where it's really going to be, really essential. And the reason why, I'll tell you why. When people feel they're a part of the process, and let me back up because I'm getting ahead of myself. If you believe that, the foods that you eat are going to affect your performance and safety, which is a sign, it's a fact, right? You want to make sure that you're having foods that not only taste great, but are going to help you when you get that call, when you got to get into work mode and things like that. So having people on board that buy into you saying, hey, let's try some new, let's add some new dishes to our, Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever holidays are going to be, in your world here in the weeks ahead. When you have them buy into it and be a part of the deciding process, they're going to be much more willing to participate and support you. Let's be selfish, okay? You don't want to be a liability on the job. You don't want to get injured on the job. So how can we use food? As simple as that. How can we use food to help in that process? So get your family on board. That's really, really important. Now, going back to the recipe, I like to talk big picture, then I kind of jump in, so I'm kind of all over the place, but if you've watched me a few times, you know kind of how I flow in and out here. Getting back into the technique side, like I said, I'm using my knuckles as a guide, and then I'm just cutting these sticks like this, and I just realized I'm doing a different recipe. Why didn't you stop me before? But this is part of the process. I just didn't
I wanted to see when you're
So, thank you for saying something. You do need to have these, okay? But now what you want to do is you're going to take, again, letting the knife do the work, and I have like my little claw action hand here. I cut these into small bite-sized pieces. You see how that worked? Everybody with me on that? You know what I think's funny? Nobody said a thing, which tells me you're not reading the recipes, folks. Come on, what's going on? Al, you don't got my back, man. I thought, jeez. All right, well. We're cutting these up into little pieces, I was saying. One thing that's really nice about this recipe, this is going into my next point. So you talk about getting family involved and getting buy-in from your significant other, the kids, your in-laws. You've got to make it easy. So we can make these things, we could cut up our sweet potatoes for our curried sweet potato recipe. We could cut this up in advance, and then you could put them in an airtight container, Ziploc baggie, and put them in the freezer and take them out, take them out when you want to have them. That would be slick. So make it easy. I've got 7 dynamite recipes here. I'm going to talk nutrition for 2 seconds here and why I picked what I picked in a second here. But we have 7 dynamite recipes that allow you to prep in advance. You can use slow cookers. There's a variety of ways that'll help you save time. So when Robert saw it on Fox 9. Awesome. I hope, was it a good episode? I watched a little bit of it, but anyways, you don't need to tell me. Okay, I don't want to know. But I want it to be easy. I want it to taste great. Okay, again, great tasting foods are actually going to help you, and we'll talk about that. We'll get specific here. But I have 7 recipes here. From the curried sweet potatoes, we've got a wild rice pilaf, butternut squash. We have slow cooker cinnamon sweet potatoes. Simple, 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 my friends. We have some savory turkey wrap medallions, roasted red pepper spread. That roasted red pepper feta spread is not only awesome as like a snack type thing, but you can put that in sandwiches. You could put it in omelets, scrambled eggs. There's a lot of ways you can use that. It'd be really good in a tortilla wrap type thing. We had 2 salad recipes, and I'm going to make one of the salads. It's beautiful. It's a gorgeous salad. It tastes great. You're going to love it. You're going to love it. We're finishing up, chopping up our sweet potatoes. One thing I want you to be thinking about, now I'm going to segue into nutrition stuff because, I make this bold statement that food works for you or it works against you. When I'm doing my webinars and sessions, about half of the group, it's new information, and for other half, it's information that, kind of verifies that we're going on the right track. For your profession, you need, to exist and have a relatively pain-free life, you need to have a stable blood sugar. Slow carbohydrates, good protein, animal or plant-based, and healthy fats, okay, I'm talking broad generalities here, Those 3 things are going to help you keep your blood sugar stable. When your blood sugar is stable, it keeps your cortisol levels lower, which help keeps inflammation levels lower. Tell me in the chat box, how many of you wake up stiff and sore or have any kind of joint pain, muscle pain, that sort of thing? Put the courage in your fingertips and put it on the counter, put it on the keyboard. Anybody have that? I do. Okay. Jake, appreciate that. Maybe like every day. Okay, well, good. Talking to the right group. Here's the deal. If that is your situation, you're not alone. Obviously, the demands of your job stay the same, but unfortunately, your body doesn't. It ages. I'm 43. When I was in my 20s, I thought I was invincible. Ate bad, drank bad, slept bad, and now that I'm at this age, what motivates me to practice what I preach and to keep my act together so that I can be, I can be authentic and legit in doing this stuff. What motivates me and drives me is I don't want to be a liability on my kids in 10, 15 years. I want my kids, there's 9 and 6, but, as I age, like I said, I don't want them to say, wow, my dad's a great guy. When we think of him, we think happy thoughts. We think, brings, they don't say value to their life, but they think of me as a, someone they want to be around and not a liability. And, I don't want to be a liability on my kids. So that's why I do what I do. So, as if you're already on board with using food to work for you and you're already thinking, yeah, I want to have great tasting, nourishing meals to help me be safer on the job and have less body pain and stuff, cool. If you're thinking, this is interesting, but you're kind of going, I don't know, I want you to connect with what makes you give a rip, okay? It could be you don't want to be the guy that can't get someone who goes down in a fire or a big event. You don't want to be that guy or gal. It could be that you don't, you want to play with your kids pain-free. I don't know. But you got to connect with that. That you always got to have that. And if you don't have that, it's going to be hard to really commit to doing these things and really making your life be feel as good as you can and minimize the stuff that happens. So anyways, I kind of went off on a little tangent here. I want to get back to the nutrition piece. Keeping your blood sugar stable, as I said, keeps your cortisol levels lower, help keep inflammation down. You're stiff and sore, that's a problem. You can make it better by, obviously, staying active, working out, getting more sleep because your body will, we're gonna be doing sleep. Hey George, do you remember when the sleep webinar and the foods for better sleep for better health webinar is going to be? I can't remember, but I'll be doing that. But the point is, you can have that food work for you, or if you're eating out a lot of processed convenience foods, junk food stuff, that excess sugar is going to spike your cortisol. It's going to spike the inflammation. It's going to make you feel even. Thank you. Not first ever. I do it all the time. But anyways, it's going to work against you. So you really got to think about what are these foods that are working for me on that. All right, let's jump back into. I'm going to get back. I'll go do more nutrition, but let's get into the recipe. We're adding some cinnamon here, and we're going to add some turmeric or some curry powder, and then we'll do a little bit of. And I have the ratios on there. You can do it, but I'm doing TV magic for you tonight, my friends. And there's the salt. I did the oil, and we got some salt here that we're gonna add. Anybody know besides these foods tasting great and these spices tasting great, why am I using them? Oh, there's an onion I need. Hang on a second. Let me grab an onion. I got wandering. I'm like literally wandering as a tangent right now, George, to your point. Anybody know why we're using cinnamon and curry powder in this recipe? Yes, it tastes great. It's going to make your food totally stand out and be wonderful, but why am I doing it from a health standpoint? Anybody? Blood flow? Yeah, okay, good. Dude, look at you guys. I'm going to have to... I like that. You're thinking good. I like that. Yes, that's all correct. The turmeric has a compound called curcumin. You don't have to hit the onion when you say that, but I'm just trying to get the skin off. That's why I did that. But that curcumin compound is that anti-inflammatory agent in the turmeric, and it doesn't have this over-the-counter side effects, which is pretty slick. Steve mentioned blood flow. What's really nice, anti-inflammatory herbs and spices, whether it's turmeric, curry powder, cumin, ginger, cardamom, basil, oregano, rosemary. Those will help relax the blood vessels to help increase blood flow and help reduce the swelling and inflammation. Herbs and spices make your food taste great, but they really are going to help benefit on that stiff and soreness stuff. Figure out how you can get herbs and spices in your meals. Cinnamon on oatmeal, make it simple. There's Italian, like we were just talking about making like spaghetti before we had the webinar. When you have add more basil, oregano, thyme, and things like that into your in your spaghetti sauce. But the point is figure out how to get those herbs and spices in your life to help reduce that pain and inflammation. Big deal, okay? I'm adding my recipe called to quarter up the onions. I'm actually using shallot here, but it'll do the job. But I'm just slicing those up. I say to chop them or quarter them. You can do it however you want. But we're going to mix this up. You could have this all in a container ready to go and then just dump it all onto a sheet pan. So again, we talk about get your family on board. We talk about making it easy so you can plan ahead, prep ahead, have stuff just be quick, throw in a crock pot or quick throw in the oven type thing. Make it really simple and manageable. Let's see, Al, sponsorships. Yeah, I'm working on that one, George, actually. Al says pepper. You can add pepper, and let me just make a comment about black pepper. About a year ago, there were some studies that came out that said when you combine black pepper with turmeric, there's some kind of compound in the black pepper that actually can help your body absorb the turmeric by like 5 to 8 times as much. So I'm getting into the weeds here. Maybe you're like, I'm not really, who cares about that? But the point is, have great tasting foods that are going to make life better for you on and off the job. I can't emphasize that enough. So there's that. So that's ready to go. We're going to pop it in the oven, and then we'll pull that out of the oven. The next recipe that I want to provide you, well, I got all those 7 recipes, but the next one that I'm going to show you is going to be it's called the red, white, and blue salad. You could have this Christmas time. You could have it on the 4th of July. You could do it really, any time of the year. It's a beautiful salad. Yeah, go ahead. It's a beautiful salad. It's super flavorful, and you might be thinking like, man, you got some very interesting choices of ingredients. Well, we did that by design. So you might say, well, what do you mean by design? Black pepper turmeric latte. That actually sounds kind of interesting. I'm open to trying that. Oh, George made that comment, didn't he? Okay. I am still open to trying it, but I like to, with my recipes, go ahead and X out. With my recipes, I like to expose you to different combinations, different textures. Number one, gotta taste great. So at the end of the day, I want to give you great tasting food. But I also want to get you to think about, maybe you got stories about food. How many of you, give me a thumbs up or say something in the chat box, had a traumatizing experience with food as a child? And I'll be the first one to embarrass myself, but zucchini and tomato soup. Living with my dad, divorced parents, 5 years old. My dad's sitting at the dinner table. He's a good guy, but kind of clueless on how to, get kids to, enroll them, right? How many of you have kids? I'm curious. Well, anyways, so my dad's at the table with me, and he's got this stuff on the plate in front of me, and he's like, if you want to leave the table, you need to eat your zucchini and tomato soup. And I was like, good luck. So how do you think that went over, everybody? Lima beans, not fit for consumption. Yeah, so liver and bacon. Yeah, what happened is my dad won the battle, but I lost the war because I was, I was gagging on the food. I was traumatized. I was crying. It's like you're 5 years old. You have unpleasant experience. Anyways, I held on to it for like 35 years. And I thought zucchini and tomato soup was going to kill me, is going to make me gag and all that kind of stuff. Well, I realized that it won't. So my point is, if you have allergies or food sensitivities, that's a different thing. But if you've had these experiences and you've held on to them because it was a bad experience, that's why I like to bring these flavors again together. That's why I like to invite you to look at, am I not liking something because of what happened when I was a kid and I just, didn't really think about it, or what? I'm going to go back to, you and your career. You can't afford to take any less care of your body than it's like, seriously, like a high-performing machine. And yeah, you might not be on all the time. You're not, I know like 90+% of calls are medical calls. It takes a different skill set, different amount of energy and intensity, and focus than dealing with a structure fire or, and that kind of stuff. But the point is, if you're not taking care of yourself, whether it's with the right food, hydration, and the right sleep, you're setting yourself up for disaster. And you can minimize that. You can easily minimize that. All right. Okay, I'm going to stay on my soapbox. I still got a half hour. But we're going to get back into our red, white, and blue salad. We have jicama here. I'm going to cut up the jicama, and I'm actually going to remember the actual recipe that I'm doing. Working on those knife skills. Joshua, I like the attitude that I will try anything once. That is the mature approach to take. We encourage our kids with that. I mean, we don't really encourage, we make them do it, but, hey, different parenting styles. But anyways, I think that's a smart move, and I definitely I like that. Try everything once, and again, frame it how, is this going to help me with whatever? Is this going to help me be safer on the job? Is this going to help me not feel like garbage when I wake up in the morning? Whatever motivates you. So we've got some jicama here. I'm going to add that to my my bowl here. Anybody have any questions, comments, thoughts? What's that?
I'm going to say strict into eating a really spicy pickles. I never trust a pickle again.
Oh man, I love pickles. Yeah, but that can happen. But now, was that Anthony that said that? Anthony, it's time, my friend. Trust the pickles. All right. Probably won't say that one again, but anyways. Do it. We'll see what happens. All right, take some apple. We have jicama. We have jicama, which is, how many of you have had jicama before? If you haven't had jicama, it is a mildly sweet vegetable. It looks like a potato, but it is not starchy like a potato. So try, it's, like I said, are you out of here? So have the, mildly sweet jicama. It tastes great. We got tart, crisp apples. We're going to chop this up and add that. You can slice them if you want. I want to have different colors. I want to have different textures, which is going to give you different eye appeal and might make people a little curious and all that. So definitely do that. If you want to use an apple core, you could do that. Otherwise, I'm just cutting out with my knife here. I'm cutting away, like I'm cutting down, not at my fingertips. It's really important that you stay safe while you're doing this. Something else that I want you to be thinking about, going back to the nutrition piece, folks. And I talked blood sugar. Blood sugar is critical. It's critical if you don't want to become diabetic. It's critical if you don't want excess inflammation. If you want to try to chill your body. That blood sugar piece is really important. Let me tell you something else, and we'll talk more about it well, actually, I did talk about that. I think I already talked about that piece. But what I want to say is, when you have that stable blood sugar, it's going to help normalize it's going to help keep the hormones that regulate your sleep, help keep them balanced so you can get good restful sleep. So I think I'm giving you a pretty compelling reason why you should be having the right kind of foods no matter the season. Other questions, comments? Let's see. Brad says, to be honest, I haven't had sweet potatoes in 30 years, but I remember them being gross. I try them again then. I've heard a lot of people say that, Brad. There's the whole sweet potato sweet potato casserole bit. There's the candied sweet potatoes, candied yams with marshmallow stuff. That would make me think that was gross as well. So totally get that. I'm gonna add blueberries here. I'm gonna add some bell pepper. Okay? And you think, am I just throwing stuff on the floor, or do you have a dog back there with you? Actually, I wish I had a dog here, but no. I've got a little garbage can, since you asked, all right? Although it would be fun if I was just throwing stuff, but then I'd be cleaning it up in the morning because I am the chief cook and bottle washer here, so I'm not helping myself if I do it that way. All right, other comments. Recently had sweet potato. Ooh, that sounds pretty cool. Is that Al? Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, you could have, if you have gluten sensitivities, that's something to think about. I'm always trying to just pepper you with things to consider. If you're one of the guys or gals that said that you wake up stiff and sore, you've got inflammation happening, and certain foods can be pro-inflammatory. They can increase the inflammation, like sugar being the number one inflammation food you can eat. Well, for about 25% of Americans, gluten is an issue for about 25%. Now that could be anywhere from a mild sensitivity to full-blown celiac, which is about 5% of the population, so it's pretty small. But the point is, if gluten is messing up your gut or giving you a headache, or if it's affecting your body, you can go, there's gluten-free routes, the sweet potato crust as an example, cauliflower crust as an example. There are bean, like garbanzo bean flours, and there's other gluten-free flours that you can get stuff. So just listen to your body, no matter what the season is. And as you come into this holiday season, for those of you that are at a station, I know people want to come by and give you cookies and cake and Christmas this and Hanukkah that and Kwanzaa this and all these tasty stuff. But a lot of the times those foods are going to take you in a downward spiral. So maybe somebody could say, I don't know who's going to do this, but I wish somebody would say, oh, we love all the food, but can you bring us food that's not going to make us have a car accident, okay? Anyways, I'm getting a little too comfortable with you guys, but you see where I'm going. How's this salad look, folks? How's that looking? Is that looking? I did say cake, Anthony, to answer your question. All right. That's beautiful. It looks great. We're going to add some radishes now to it. Do you remember I mentioned 3 macronutrients that are going to help you being safer on the job because they're going to keep your blood sugar stable, and I talked all about that. Those 3 macronutrients, again, protein, slow carbs, and healthy fats. These 2 recipes are examples of good slow carb food. If you're watching, if you need to have low starch carbs, either because you're on a ketogenic diet or you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, there are a lot of really good slow carbohydrate foods that will work for you. And so definitely, consider that. Sweet potatoes are going to be more on the starchy side. Now there are starch-resistant vegetables that can be a positive thing. Do your homework on that. Purple yams are one of those. That's kind of a niche food, but they taste awesome. Make French fries and things like that with them, and they're gonna help from a blood sugar standpoint, and they're also anti-inflammatory. But I always focus on foods that taste great, and again are going to help make life a little bit easier. If you think about doing these recipes for the holidays, going back to the big picture, have your family help you prepare this stuff. If you've got little kids, how many of you have kids? How old are they? Like 15 and younger, 10 and younger, K through 5. They can help with washing the vegetables. They can have, okay, so you got older ones, so they can help you with the older ones, can help teenagers too. Got it. They can help with the meal planning. Now my kids are 9 and 6, kind of like with Steve and Jake. They're young, but they want to have control. And teenagers, I know this because of the work I did with schools, they want to be in charge. So say, hey, we're going to start creating, we're going to start putting our holiday plans together, Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. and say, I need your help to come up with 1 or 2 recipes. You can give them bumpers so that they feel they're part of the process. And studies show, whether it's kids or adults, when they feel they're part of the process, they're going to be more apt to want to participate. So have them be a part of the process in that way, and then you can give them age-appropriate tasks to do. That will be a great thing to do. Here's another thing that I want you to think about. As you are navigating the, I can't tell you what to do on, in-laws and all that kind of stuff, or how to actually have a gathering. But the point is, I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh, what was my point? Someone help me out. Throw me a lifeline. The point is having me checking on those sweet potatoes. Maybe I can remember what the point was. Oh my gosh, not ready yet. Close. So we're talking about kids on board, family on board, trying new things. Oh, I remember now. Sorry, this is a really important point too. Can't believe I forgot it. Is introduce something, whether it's for example, a couple of years ago, we introduced at dinner time 4 questions that we do with my kids. And at first, they're like, no way, I don't want to do it. Well, we brought it in, and then they realized that it was a lot of fun, and we got to have meaningful conversation. And so it kind of pushed out some of the baloney that was distracting at dinner time. So my point is, in the holidays, bring in a new tradition. Try something new. Maybe you bring in one of these new dishes. Don't let go of the old stuff, okay? But what will happen is your family members will say, wow, this tastes really good. And then they're going to think of some of the holiday foods that make them feel like garbage, and they're going to go, feel really good or feel like garbage? Now, this might even happen at your station. You might have foods that taste great and actually make you feel good, and taste great, make you feel like garbage, and you might recognize how you feel at the end of the day, and then you're going to say, I don't really want those other things. And then someone will say, hey, I love that recipe. How'd you make it? You can give them that recipe, and then they will make it next time, and then we'll start to move out some of those things that aren't working for us. Does that make sense? George says you eliminated gluten from your diet, and it made me feel better. Potluck dishes from Chef O'Brien. Appreciate that. But that is true. Listen to your body. Whether it's Thanksgiving time, Christmas time, anytime, you've got to basically be ready to go from 0 to 60 on just like at a moment's notice. So those are some of the strategies that I really want you to be thinking about that can help make these holidays just a little bit more positive. All right. So going back to our salad, we've done jicama, we did apples, we did blueberries, we did radishes. All of these foods have really a great flavor, complementing flavor. A couple other nutrition things that I want to point out. Again, going back to the inflammation side. And another thing is like on the emotional health side. In my family, on my mom's side, we have depression that runs through. Living in Minnesota, with no sun, no vitamin D, basically from October through May, and there's, sun goes down at 4:30, and depending on what your schedule's like, you may not see any sun, right? It can be hard. It can be really hard on your body, mentally, emotionally. So if you can, highly recommend get foods that can help make you more emotionally resilient. They're going to help make you more emotionally buoyant, help you withstand seasonal affective disorder. I don't know if anyone's got any of that kind of experience, but it's real. Now, for myself, I want to eat antioxidant-rich foods because they're going to help boost your serotonin levels, which are your feel-good hormone. That vitamin D I mentioned from the sun, well, we can't get it from the sun, but we can get it from food. Cheese, milk, animal protein, mushrooms, eggs. That vitamin D is absolutely critical to help you. So definitely think about, again, what motivates you. You might just like to cook and you want to try new things. That's awesome. Go for it. Maybe you, like I said, you want to be safe on the job, don't want to be a liability, play with your kids pain-free, not be emotionally down the dumps. I don't know. But connect that so when you're trying these things, it gives you reason. So you have the reason, and then I give you a pathway, showing you how to do it, giving you the strategies, the tips, tactics, have the tools, the recipes, and then the last thing you can think about is having that constant support and reinforcement. So you try stuff at your station, you like it, you try some more, swap recipes with people, ask questions with people. Don't be afraid to say, I need to get my skills up, I want to do more, that sort of thing. Questions, comments, thoughts. I'm going to throw in now into the recipe, into the salad. I'm going to put in some fresh mint here. I'm using fresh mint because fresh mint tastes really nice. It's very seasonal. Any gardeners? Anyone grow their own food? Gardeners? George, you do? We like to grow various vegetables. We have chickens at our place, so we get eggs, which is pretty cool. But fresh herbs are a great, easy thing you can make, and just makes your food taste and smell so much better. And this will also add to that colorful, festive component that we want. So think about, when you're putting your plan together for your dishes, how's it going to look on the table? How's it going to smell? That sort of thing. And I know this year being kind of goofy and weird because the world's going to heck. Still just make it positive any way you can, and this is one way to do that. All right, look at that. Look at that beautiful, beautiful salad. How's that look, folks? Okay, easy, really easy to do. Here's another thing that I want you to be thinking about when it comes to tastes, specifically with taste buds. We got kids, we got a list of different ages. Well, whether you're a child or you are an adult, your taste buds evolve, and so that's good news to know. Because I'm encouraging you to bring a new dish or two into your holidays that are going to not only taste great but work for you. Well, those new dishes may have new flavors, and those new flavors are going to be received in different ways. Well, here's something that you need to know. For those of you that don't have kids yet, and if you're going to be having kids, taste preferences start at conception, and by age 2, about 50% of a child's taste buds have been hardwired, and by age 5, about 80% of their taste buds have been hardwired, and then it dramatically tapers off. Now again, as adults, we can evolve our taste buds, but kids' taste buds change every day, every week, every couple of days. I'm pointing this out because kids, they view food, especially when they're younger and they're kind of exploring it, they're viewing food as something that will either keep them alive or kill them, right? So they're careful, they're cautious. They look to mom and dad, they look to the adult role models that are around them that are eating the food, and they're saying, oh, are they alive? Oh, how do they like it? They're processing how you're eating this food stuff. So 9 out of 10 times, it's actually a power dynamic with kids if they don't like something. What I'm suggesting for you is just to recognize that their taste buds change a lot, and they may be into it, they may not. Don't make it mean anything. Don't label them as a picky eater. Don't give them any power to get into a dynamic where now you think they don't like stuff, and then you take them down a path of really specific foods, and you're a short order cook and all that. You don't want to do that. So their taste buds will evolve. Take advantage of that during this time to try new stuff. It'll be a process, but you can do it, and it can be fun. And I just wanted to bring that up because that's a real point, frankly, to anybody, regardless of a kid or adult. Questions, comments, thoughts? Oh, my kids say once you start liking broccoli, you are an official. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I'll tell you, when it comes to the whole food thing with kids, I did not do stealth cooking, meaning I didn't hide food. We set expectations of saying, this great food tastes great. I care about you. I love you, and I made it. I put a lot of love into it. Enjoy it. They watched Jana and I eat that and smile and have positive body language and that sort of thing. And it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't like that. It's gross. As an adult, you say that, then the kids are like, oh, well, okay, well, I'm not going to like it then. So that can be really powerful. And so my kids, I didn't do like fancy fancy naming of foods and things. We just said, hey, here's broccoli, here's this or that. And so that's how they did it, and that's how they know it, and it worked. And we don't expose them to a lot of processed foods, and we don't do drive-through stuff because I know the role food can play on them. Just like I was saying how the role food can play with you as a firefighter. Obviously, kids are different. They have different needs, but they still need to be able to pay attention, have energy, blah, 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 blah. Food can work for them or against them as well. So that's the approach that I take with that. All right, folks, we've got like 12 minutes. We got 12 minutes to keep talking shop here. Thanks to TV Magic, I have my sweet potatoes, my curried sweet potatoes here. These are nice, and you can see that yellowish stuff on the pan. That's the turmeric. Turmeric is a yellowish, orangish colored spice that is in curry powder, and that was the anti-inflammatory. That was the anti-inflammatory spices that we were talking about. You can put this in a bowl. I did a half portion on this one, but you can put that in a bowl as a platter type thing. It'll taste really, 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 really delicious. Gonna have just, again, great flavors and aromas. This is good. Do a piece of grilled chicken, grilled salmon, piece of steak. Have this. Okay, anyways, I digress. This is awesome. All right, questions, comments, thoughts. What else? Talk to me, guys. Talk to me. When you eat your salad, and normally I should just be, I'll stick to my professionalism here, and I'll grab a plate for myself. All right. When you're having the salad, I encourage you to take a few different pieces. Don't just have like a little piece. Don't just take a bell pepper, okay? Take a bell pepper and take the apple and get some more of it so you can try it all. And you can have the flavors blend, and that was what I was talking about. Remember, I was talking about kind of leading you down of trying those new flavors and textures together. And that's how you can do it, and it's going to taste absolutely dynamite. A couple more tips that I want you to be thinking about. When you are going into this holidays time, and maybe you've already got your plans for next week, if it's just like you and your significant other, you don't have to do a whole turkey, for example. You could do turkey breast, turkey thighs, turkey legs. You could obviously take part of a turkey, cook it, and then take the other half and take the meat, freeze it. For those of you that have my Smart Nutrition cookbook, you can sub a lot of the meats out for turkey leftovers. So I highly recommend that. Got over 70 recipes, teaches you how to meal plan, teaches you how to set yourself up for success in the kitchen. It's a great book. Get it on my website, chefmarshallobrien.com, if you don't already have it. I want you to also think about, if you're going to reduce quantity. So, for example, we're going to do, most of these recipes are really nice that you can do for a couple of you. But let's say it is just two, and you're going to cut the recipe in half. You got to think about the cooking time. It doesn't mean you cut the cooking time in half. You might only cut it down by 25%. That's something to think about. You still have prep time, so you got to consider that. When you are modifying your recipes for the holidays, or for any time for that matter, you got to keep in mind that you still have to cook the food to make it what it was originally supposed to be. So if you're roasting the sweet potatoes, you're going to keep the same temperature, but you might just cook a little bit less because you have less to cook. Think through that. All right, George has got a comment on prepping ahead. What does does it reset well? What's the best way to make?
Reheat.
Oh, reheat.
Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Yeah, reheat. Yeah, definitely it does. What I would do, like literally, chop everything up, have it all, with the exception of the oil, have everything in a container, and then you can just pour it out and then add the oil, mix it up, and it will be done. But as far as like cooking it done and then reheating it, absolutely. The sweet potatoes, they have they got a pretty firm texture. They're really dense, so they'll reheat. They'll have a nice texture to them. Unlike like zucchini, when it reheats, not as it's not as palatable. Certainly, it's acceptable, but that is one of those forgiving vegetables that you can definitely reheat. It'll work great for you. Let's see, what else? Did I answer your question there, George?
Yeah, so Marshall, I think one of the things is, sometimes it's hard to get these things done at the fire station, whether you're a career firefighter or, you're showing up to work your part-time shift or the bell rings for, the volunteer firefighter and they bolt out the door. And if there's something you could grab and take with you and then, kind of eat it afterwards. So that's great to hear that the sweet potato dish reheats well. How about the salad then? You could make that ahead of time, just not put the
Yeah, actually, this salad, you could have it totally ready, and then you got to go do a run. That's fine, and even you could do it the day before. This holds really nice because you have all firm vegetables and fruits, and because the blueberries, I use fresh blueberries. They hold that skin is thick enough that'll stay intact even with the oil on it, the olive oil on it. That will hold, so you could make that a day in advance and have it a day in advance done if you had to. George, to your point on the timing stuff, I think some people are really organized. Some people have dishes or snacks or things that they can do grab and go or that they can pull out on a moment's notice. That's going to actually give you more freedom. And what I mean by that, if you take the time to plan ahead, prep ahead, then when you have those unexpected, expected runs you have to go do, then you're not scrambling at the last minute going, oh, what should we have? Because you've thought through it and you have it ready. It might mean that you have stuff in your freezer. One of the things that when we did a big, it's like 6 years ago now, I think. Yeah, maybe 6 years ago, we did a big program for City Minneapolis Fire, and we advocated, and part of the program was teaching them how to plan meals in advance and having meals that were prepped, made, frozen in the freezer, obviously, because they're frozen, having them there that were have emphasis on muscle recovery and repair. So they had a higher ratio of protein in those specific recipes. And the point is, if there was a big event, somebody, and the ball goes off, someone would yank it out of the freezer on their way out to get on their turnout gear and jump in the rig. So then it starts thawing 2-3 hours later, whatever. They come back, they can get that thing in the oven, and they can have an appropriate meal that will help in that recovery process. So being organized and taking the time in advance to prep and plan and prep is going to pay dividends and give you more freedom and flexibility versus the other way. So George, thanks for bringing that up. Anthony says, good question, Anthony. So I talked to 3 big macronutrients: protein, animal or plant-based, slow carbohydrates, a lot of these examples, and then the healthy fats. So it could be olives, it could be olive oil, avocado oil. It could be walnuts, cashews, almonds, butter and yogurt in moderation would qualify as a healthy fat. So then again, to your question, you could certainly use that. There's no they're depending on the type of oil. There's refinement, different levels of refinement. You might hear like a highly refined oil, like olive oil could be extra virgin. That means it's unrefined. There's a lot of nutritional benefits, but it has a low smoke point. Avocado oil has a higher smoke point, has good flavor, distinct flavor, and depending on the refinement level of it, you may like that flavor, you might not. So it kind of comes down to personal preference, and then from a nutritional standpoint, that avocado oil is going to be a good, healthy fat. So definitely focus on that. You want to avoid man-made fats, partially hydrogenated fats, trans fats. Those are the fats you're going to find in a lot of cookies, candies, cakes, things that are to make food shelf stable. You don't want to eat those kinds of fats because they're going to increase inflammation in your body, cloud your mental cognition. They're going to work against you and make you less safe on the job. Awesome question there. What's an ideal breakfast to set up a healthy day? Jake, for ideal breakfast, I think from a flavor standpoint, obviously it depends on for your flavors. But what I would do is give yourself a 1 to 2 hour window after you get up, because breakfast literally means break fast. It's breaking the fast. You had you had X amount of hours of sleep, and from your last meal through sleep, and then now you're going to eat something. you're going to break that fast. So what you specifically eat, always focus on good protein. So concrete example, like today I made for breakfast. I'm a utilitarian. I kind of just make whatever. I mean, I can eat the same thing over and over. But I had some scrambled eggs. I had some oatmeal. And on my oatmeal, I had some walnuts, a little bit of honey, and I had some thawed out frozen fruit. What I'm translating that from a nutrition standpoint, Jake, the protein in the eggs keep my blood sugar stable, boost my metabolism. The oats keep my blood sugar stable. It has fiber, so it slows the absorption of sugar in my bloodstream. That's what I'm trying to do. And I give myself a period of time, and everybody's different, but for me, I give myself like 12 hours of a little fast so that I can just get my metabolism going. And I don't want to get in the weeds to all that stuff, but focusing on that breakfast, that's what I would do. You could do some whole grain toast with some peanut butter on it. You don't have to have breakfast food. A lot of people think like waffles and pancakes, and that's what I do that on the weekends with my kids. It's fun, but definitely good protein, some good fat, and some carbohydrates. And you could do more protein and a little more fat. Kind of depends. Everybody's different. Some people can do a ketogenic diet and it really helps them with their blood sugar. Some people do more of a balanced protein, fat, carbohydrate. Some people are vegan and it's all plant-based. Everybody has different needs. So you want to figure out what works for you. But those are some simple ways you could incorporate a positive breakfast for yourself. You're welcome, George. Is that the cue to wrap it up?
No, not necessarily. I just wanted before people leave
Yeah,
the meeting.
no.
I know it's busy lives,
Nope,
Someone's
totally get
pager's
that.
probably going off right now, so.
All right. Well, and it really, to wrap up, folks, you could have been doing something else tonight, but you chose to be here. I really appreciate it. I hope that we can continue to support you guys and gals in any way possible. Webinars, videos, we just want to help. You're one of the pillars of the community. And the more you take care of yourself, the more you can continue to support your community. If you ever have questions about any of the cooking techniques, I've got the Chef Marshall Minute, which focuses on nutrition. It's a 1 minute video clip that you can sign up for. Go to chefmarshallobrien.com. It's a free service you can have. My cooking show is every Thursday night, except for next week. But Thursday nights, cook with me in real time, get the recipe shopping list in advance. Dee Dee's daughter watched it and thought it was cool, so other kids, it's a family-friendly event. Thursday nights, 5:30. It's an awesome, awesome show, a big production. It's great. Do that. That's all I got. All right.
Thank you so much, Marshall. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for being here tonight. Really appreciate your time.
See you in the next webinar, guys. You take care.
Bye.
See you later.